Hey everybody, welcome back to I Know a Guy. If you're new here, my name's Anthony. I'm a business profit advocate. On this show, we interview entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, and people doing cool things. For example, today we're meeting Andrea Brunswick. She's a creative life strategist dedicated to helping professional women and entrepreneurs rebuild their lives after a loss of a spouse through a death or a divorce, specialized in navigating heartbreak, releasing shame, and reigniting confidence. She empowers women to create healthier relationships and fulfilling careers. How you doing today, Andrea?
Good, Anthony. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I liked our conversation before. I think a lot of people out there need to know you, so I'm gonna do everything I can to help you there. So, yeah, where are you located? Where you at?
I am in Canada, in the Toronto region.
Okay. Are you a lifelong Canadian, or are you newer to the area?
Born, bred, raised. Yeah.
I got you. I've met a,
I'm a Canadian, eh? And now we have some. So, where are you located?
I'm in Iowa, so it's north-ish, but not quite as up there as you guys. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just
So,
snow?
oh yeah, we get snow. We get I like to say we get all four seasons here. We get them good and hard. We get it really cold. We get it really hot. The hottest temperature this year was like 115 with heat index. The coldest was -40 with wind chill. So yeah, it's
Oh, so you're
115.
similar to us.
Oh yeah, no, we get it. We it's hot.
Okay.
It's cold. We get it all. So,
Okay.
but I've talked to a few Canadians and I've never been up there myself. What do you recommend people do, who have never been there that are visiting?
Sorry, just repeat that.
Yeah, what would you recommend somebody that's never been to Canada to do if they're up there visiting for the first time?
Well, I think it would really depend on what part of Canada that you've come to because I'm terrible. I totally failed geography. I can't remember. I'm totally admitting this here on a podcast. I don't know how many provinces we have. So each province has something different.
Hmm.
So Ontario, which is a province that I live in, there's so much to do. We have the most stunning lakes. Like if you come, well, it depends. Like it depends on what kind of season you are. Um, I am more of a summer girl, spring, summer, fall. But if you like winter, we've got good skiing in Ontario. In the summer, we've got amazing lakes. If you've heard of Niagara Falls,
Oh yeah.
yeah, to go see the Niagara Falls. I mean, even to go see the capital in Ottawa. Honestly, I mean, go to Quebec, which is another province, and you really want good skiing. I mean, honestly, Canada is a really beautiful country.
Hmm.
So there's so much to do and good shopping. Toronto, if you come to Toronto, you've got amazing. If you're a foodie, you've come to the right place because we're very multicultural, so you name it, you can get that kind of food, and it is like, oh,
Sold. All right, you had me with the food. So
did I
awesome.
answer, Anthony?
Yeah, you got it. Nailed it. So what can you tell us about what you're doing? Creative Life Strategist. What does all that
Okay,
look like?
so Creative Life Strategist, really, I'm a certified life coach. But truth be said, and I started getting certified in 2004, was when I started this journey. I never really liked the term life coach because, Anthony, people, you get into conversations, oh, so what do you do? And I would say, I'm a life coach. And then they would be like a deer in the headlight. Oh, what is that? And I always thought I was doing the best of my ability to explain it to them. It's not therapy, but it is a therapeutic modality. I mean, really, in the way the coach works. And I'm all about mindset because let's face it, your brain goes with you no matter where you go. And I help women really overcome and rewrite their stories. And I still get that, like, whoa, what? So, anyways, a couple years ago, somebody had suggested that. They said, no, I really see you as a creative life strategist because in all honesty, it is coming up with strategies. How can you be creative? Because listen, there are solutions to everything. And at the end of the day, we're always going to have something, some kind of problem, some kind of issue, challenge, big, small, heartbreaking. And there are strategies in which, if we put them in place, will move us in a different direction. And I think that's ultimately what we're really looking for, right?
Okay. Well, how did you get started? You said you got started back in 2004. What was that triggering event that made you go, "This is the life I want to lead"?
Well, 2003 was a very, well, 2000, started in 2002, but being a really rough year with a lot of losses of my husband's family. And then in 2003, my husband passed in his sleep. He had just turned 41. I had just turned 40. Our son had literally, because my husband's birthday and then my son's birthday was the next day. So our son had just turned 10 and our daughter was 5.5. And he didn't wake up. He had had a heart attack in his sleep. And at that moment, my life was completely different. And I never would have thought I would have been a widow. You couldn't think divorced at 40, but it's a little bit weird to think of yourself as a widow. And that set me on a whole trajectory. And prior to my husband's passing, I was selling snowboard insurance. You know, us winter people, we like to go away, and usually they'll go somewhere warm, and you need to get the travel insurance. So I was doing that, and that was seasonal. And I had just finished doing that. I was helping a friend who that was his business. And I was like, oh my God, like, who am I going to be now? Like, what am I going to be now? And I didn't know. And that set me on my own course of figuring out, sometimes it's not so good when you have a really diverse background because it really can lead. It's like when you go to a restaurant and there's too much on a menu, there's way too many choices. It's like, oh my God, I want everything, but what? And that was like where I was finding myself. At one point, I was going to be a social worker, and then I didn't like that. And then I went to art college, and that was fun. But my dad had passed in my last year, so that kind of interrupted me there. And then I went into sales, and I sold a lot of different things for a long time. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do now, and I need to do something because we were left no life insurance, tens of thousands of dollars in debt, two small kids that I need to get through this. And I did a career exploration workshop for women who were in a similar situation of transition and transforming their lives. And the industry was just starting. It was, there was a reality TV show that I used to watch called The Starting Over House. And I was watching these life coaches work. And then after doing that, literally, God said, I want you to be a life coach. So that set me to getting certified. You didn't need certification. I don't even know if you still do, to be honest. It wasn't a very mandated industry. Hence, everybody started popping up saying they're a coach. I'm a business coach. I'm a life coach. I'm a relationship coach. And it hasn't been easy. Not the coaching. See, I never really thought of myself as a business owner. I just saw myself as a life coach. And that brought a lot of problems to me,
Okay.
right?
Oh,
If
okay.
that makes sense.
No, it does. It definitely does. You go through that yourself, and then you go, I want to help people through this. Because once you overcome something, you start to see it everywhere. I don't know. That's with everything. If you're going to buy a new vehicle, you start to see that vehicle on the road. If you go through a certain thing, you start to pick up on everything everybody's doing. So I can definitely see, that line. But you've been doing it long enough. What do you love about what you're doing? What's your passion with it?
So I have always loved being a witness to somebody's transformation. I think that that is such a blessing when you can witness that happening. So, you know, that's why I like reality TV shows. They said when American Idol first started, and you watch somebody progress. So to be your coach and to walk alongside you and see the changes, do you have children?
No, I do not.
Okay. If you've ever been around little babies, and sometimes then you'll notice, like when they just like make that like, oh, I have toes, or you can see, you look in the eyes of a little kid and you can see like their wonder and their thinking. It's the same thing for me with the client. Like when that woman really finally gets it, like she now understands her role in whatever it was that she's dealing with. And a lot of the times, and it might be a strong word that I'm using, but I think it does apply, the destruction. Sometimes it's like our lives self-destruct, or we think they do, or we blame other people for the destruction of our life. But when we finally get it as to our role, how we contributed. Because listen, either you're contributing or you're contaminating. There's really, you're bragging or you're complaining. I mean, that's really just the way it goes in life. So it's very special. I mean, listen, there's an endless sea of coaches out there. And when somebody chooses me, that's like, what? Really? That is like, come on. So I don't, there's really nothing that I don't love about it. Now, that being said, I love doing what I do. I haven't always loved building a brand. I haven't always loved building a structure of a company, truth be told.
Okay, I got you. Well, you've been doing it long enough. You've had some hard-won lessons. You've seen things come and go. What's something that you would do different if you had to restart, or maybe something that you could advise somebody that was trying to do what you do, give them a heads up, hey, you might want to avoid this or might change this.
Oh, I like that. So for me, I call comparisonitis, right? Comparing myself. Now, I once heard at a Millionaire Mind Intensive this expression, and it's stuck with me. How I do one thing is how I do everything. So I had to take a look at that. I used to compare things. I would compare my husband to my friend's husbands. I would compare the income that he made to other people. So then as a coach and building a brand, I started to compare myself to these other coaches, to their brands, not the work, not the how they showed up as a coach, but in terms of that branding, especially here on social media, right? You can get really just taken, oh, look at theirs and look at their website and oh, and look at their offers. And I really say to people, stay in your own lane. We do need to do market research, but sometimes that can be really counterproductive for us, right?
Hmm.
So I would
Yeah,
say stay in your own lane, do your very best to not compare yourself or your services to anybody else because who you are is what makes you stand out. Who you are is what makes you unique. And it's what you bring to the table that is going to separate you from the rest.
I was just doing an interview with a lady, Rachel Lee. She's amazing. I recommend everybody talk to her and watch that as well. But she said the same thing. She's a personal brand. And what really stuck with me is we all know, like, trust. You have to have know, like, trust for somebody to be a client of yours. But we kind of overlook the like part where they know a bit about what you do. They start to trust you a little bit. But your personality a lot of times can be overshadowed by what you think people want to see. But how can they really like you if they don't know you very well or know who you are if you're hiding it? So that is important to know. Be authentic to yourself. Don't try and compare your success to whatever everybody else thinks might be success.
We
It's
do
completely
that all
different.
the time. I mean, and if you really think about it, you'll see how you're probably doing it in every area of your life.
Hmm.
But I love yeah, it's so true. That's definitely something that I would say. And what else would I say? Hmm. It's those hard things that we have to do that are really going to push us out of our comfort zone that we all avoid doing. And if you do it, you
Yep.
really, yeah.
If you knew if you knew you had to fail 10 times in order to be successful, you'd fail those 10 times as fast as you possibly could. You'd go, you wouldn't worry about it. That's the same exact kind of mentality you have to have when you're starting something because it might be 10, it might be 100 times you have to fail, but eventually you'll get to a place where you think, hey, this is what I was looking for. This is success. So taking it on the chin and realizing that, hey, this is a learning opportunity. So that's important, especially for young entrepreneurs or people just getting started. So that's awesome. And then you were talking about your average client, your avatar. Who is what's a pain point that somebody might have that if they're going through it, they need to talk to you?
Really, how do you move forward? Because often we feel very stuck, like we're in quicksand. And how do I really even take that first step? And we're always wanting these, everybody, and I put my hands up to this too, because it's not like it hasn't been me. We want to go from 0 to 1,000 right away. And everything is a process. Life itself, if you take a look, you plant a seed, right? It's not gonna The seed isn't going to crack and the roots aren't going to open right away and it's not going to pop up out of the soil and become whatever seed it was when it was planted, right? There's a process. And if we can just learn to trust, to trust this process of life and to trust God, we will. But just go to the starting point and put both feet there, not one. Don't put one foot here and one foot there. Like I'm dipping my toes in the water, but my other foot's not in the water. No, both feet in the water and just take baby steps because they will add up. One little step and another little step. And before you know it, you find yourself in a different place.
Okay. What are good power partners for you? People that you might synergize well with, where you can both serve the same type of client that you can refer back and forth to, where you both can add value to each other.
Well, I love that. So something new took place for me in my business this year. I connected with a Christian business coach. So she's all about doing your branding, right? And we were having a conversation about mindset because your mindset goes wherever you go. And she now brought me in to coach once a week with her women in her group program on their mindset. Because we can put all of the systems and strategies in place that we want, right? But then we're going to have those beliefs. We're still bringing up. And when you become an entrepreneur, it really pushes you and it starts to bring up stuff that either you didn't realize was laying dormant in you or you thought you've already worked on those issues, only to find, lo and behold, I didn't really deal with those issues. I put them in that junk drawer, but I never really dealt with them. So I love to collaborate with women, and there's so many different types of coaches that I can collaborate with. I mean, I can even collaborate with another life coach, but because of the training that I have, and a lot of it has been life trained. It's not just professional trained. You know, there has to be that relatability, and especially on topics such as loss and grief. If you haven't really walked that walk, you can take the courses, you can get all the certification that you want, that you need, but there has to be that relatability. And I do hope I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And a real poignant question that a lot of people have, and everybody faces this, at one point or another. And it's not really something that, oh, it's a rare thing. It's a common thing. And you went through it yourself, and that's what you're coaching people. So, how does somebody overcome fear of starting out or starting over in their 40s and 50s?
Very similar to what I was just saying. It's going to be a process and you're going to have to start. And the longer you avoid it, the bigger the lie, the fear is going to feel. Now, often things that we fear definitely are true, right? But if you can find that faith, and I don't know which scripture it is, but in terms of the faith of a mustard seed, you don't need to have a huge amount of wampum faith, but you need to start off. And you don't even need to believe in yourself. But if you can put that belief in God, and if you can put that faith in God, and knowing that He has your back, and if you just start, and this is what I see with a lot of, it's not just exclusive to women because I know men really suffer from this as well, this fear of asking for help. It's like we don't want to be seen in some particular light. Like we already have this judgment in our head that we're going to be judged if we ask for help, but everybody needs help. And often people are themselves, I'm going to use this word only for lack of a better word, afraid to approach you because they think they may insult you if they offer. So then it's like, now what's happening? Nobody's getting help and nobody's offering help and that woman is not making movement. So just start. There's places. It's like Anthony, it's like when I realized I needed to go back to work, I needed to do something with my life. but I had no clue. What was I going to do? Who was I going to be? It was like this wide open terrain for myself. I reached out to a social worker who was helping me and the kids with a number of different issues. And I just started this conversation. And then she found this program for me. But if I wouldn't have had that conversation with her, and she led me to just doing I think it was a 12-week course. I can't even remember if it was a 12-week course or however long that program was, that allowed me to see in and discover who I was. I don't know if I'd be here with you. It's like being on a podcast. I knew I wanted to do public speaking, and then I found out about that Need a Guest podcast group in Facebook. And you just, you have to just start. You have to start because we really, it's like we put ourselves in a cell, and the key is right there. Like the key to unlock that door is right there, but we're so gripped in the I can'ts that we don't see the it's possible. And
Yep.
in time, just don't try to go from here to here and expect it to be overnight.
Yeah, and you're right. People they have that fear that hey, it's too late for me. I should have got started because there's the old adage. It's when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago. When's the second best time to plant a tree? Today. Just do it, right? You're better off doing it now than waiting to do it later. So Nike's right. Just do it. So
And everybody, and listen, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but we get in those place of I should have, oh, I should have done this, I should have done it that way, or I shouldn't have done this, and I should have. Our brain loves to mess with us, right? It wants to take us in all of these directions, almost so that we're like in this tailspin, in this tizzy, and that's just the mental chaos. Just take a breath. Just really take a breath and then take your first step.
mhm. Awesome. Is there anything that I failed to ask that you wanted to mention or anything real pressing or something really important that you want to get out there?
No, Anthony, I don't think so.
Awesome.
No. Yeah,
Awesome.
awesome is right.
Yeah. Well, people out there are going to have more questions. Obviously, I can't think of everything, and it's people should have a conversation with you. What's the best way that they get a hold of you?
Social media, Facebook is Andrea Julia Brunswick. Instagram and LinkedIn is Andrea Brunswick. And they can always email me at Andrea Julia Brunswick at gmail.com, and I'll send you all of those links. And also, Anthony, um, going back in this conversation went to the whole know, like, and trust. It's very true. It's especially when you're working with a coach, right? The coach needs to know, A, that potential client is coachable, but that potential client needs to know, and you can interview your coaches, and we should. That's another mistake I didn't make, and I bought into people's copywriting, but that could be for a whole other podcast. So I call it a 30-minute breakthrough session, and it's really where you're going to bring one of your most challenging issues, because this is how I describe it. There's a knot, there's a root, and there's things that are all knotted up onto that one main root. And if we can start to untangle, you can start to make the changes and the movement and take a look at things. So you're going to come, it's amazing at what can get done in 30 minutes. So I'm going to send you that link as well. That anybody that is really wanting to just have a conversation with me, it's not about working with me. It's not about, I mean, if after you want to ask me, but the 30-minute breakthrough session is for you so that we can have you receive a breakthrough. So I'll send you that as well.
Perfect. And I'll make sure all that's in the description so it's not hard to find. They don't have to hunt for it. It's going to be
Oh,
obvious.
thank you, Anthony.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
and anybody that's thinking about having a conversation with Andrea, absolutely do. Worst case scenario, you're probably going to feel a little bit better after talking to her. She's such a
But that's
positive.
just it. And I don't want them to come with a feeling obligated to sign. I mean, yeah, it would be fantastic. But I've listened. I'm not in my 40s anymore. I've been doing this. yeah, 20 years. And so I don't want to work with as many women as I used to be truthful. And now I've developed a group program too. So just come for your 30-minute breakthrough, have a breakthrough,
Yep.
really.
Absolutely, absolutely should. Like I said, worst case, you'll feel a little bit better. You'll know a little bit more, and you'll make a cool connection with a cool person. So absolutely reach out to Andrea. She's awesome to have a conversation with. If somebody is a little bit more shy and they'd like an introduction, reach out to me if you prefer a three-way introduction. I'm happy to do that for you as well. If somebody out there would like to be interviewed, feel free to reach out to me. I'll have my link tree with my links and everything in the description, so feel free to use that. But other than that, Andrea, I really appreciate you coming on and taking time and talking with all of us and pouring into us. Huge takeaways. We need to have more conversations like this in the future. But other than that, let's all get out there and meet some more people. All right.
Listen, absolutely, Anthony. And thank you because this was, I love it. I love these shorter podcasts because it really forces me to have to be much clearer and more concise with my own communication. So thanks to you, Anthony.
Absolutely my pleasure. Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.